Well, welcome back, everyone. We have lots of frogs in our area, but what do they do during the winter? Well, here to tell us is Haley Williams. She's a naturalist for Johnny Appleseed Metro Park. Welcome, Haley.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, so I see frogs all the time in the summertime. At least I like to if I get a chance to, but they kind of disappear in the winter. Where do they go? What happens to them?
So frogs cannot survive the cold of the winter. So we have them doing a couple different things. So some frogs are going to brumate, which is basically hibernation for reptiles and amphibians. So like frogs like the bullfrogs, toads, they're both going to brumate. Bullfrogs are going to kind of go to the bottom of a body of water, and they're going to live down there pretty much for a while, brumating. Toads will kind of burrow down into the dirt, and they're going to brumate down there, just sleep out the winter. But then some frogs actually freeze solid over winter, and so the most well-known one is the wood frog. So they live normal life all spring and summer, and then in the fall, they actually start doing something called building up their glucose, which is basically like an antifreeze in their body. So as they're building that up in the fall, they're preparing for when that first freeze happens in the winter, late fall time, and it's going to protect their whole body. So they're going to cover in a frost pretty much, and it's going to protect their organs and everything, and they're going to be completely lifeless all winter. They won't move. Their brain activity is not happening. There's no heartbeat. They're pretty much just waiting out until the worm comes back, and then they'll defrost and come back to normal in the spring.
That's really interesting. So, not all frogs freeze, right?
Not all frogs. Some of them are just going to brumate normal. They aren't going to build up.
And when you talk about brumation, it's kind of like slowing down. Is that what it is?
Yes, they're going to like slow down their metabolism. They'll like breathe less, have a slower heart rate. They're just going to kind of wait it out.
Okay.
Some people I've heard they'll take a frog in the summer because they've heard that frogs freeze. Take a frog in the summer, put it in their freezer, and then go to take it out and the frog's dead. And that happens because they did not prepare to freeze. They did not build up that glucose or that antifreeze. So if you freeze a frog in the summer, they will not come back out of that one alive.
Right. So the ones that do actually freeze, they're almost technically dead in a way, right?
They seem like they're dead. So if you see a frozen frog in the winter, they're really supposed to be doing that. That's how they are surviving. So don't assume that it's dead and kind of, kick it around or whatever. It's living. It's just very in a suspended state.
Yeah.
No
so when it does freeze, does it go into dirt? Does it go into water? So
it's going to kind of burrow down a little bit under the leaf litter and kind of just live down in that area, hiding away so that it's not being eaten or anything. It's hidden away, but protected in its suspended state.
Interesting. So, and then when spring comes along and things start to warm up, so do the frogs, and then hopefully we get to see them out and about eating those flies?
Yep, they defrost, and then they're back for the spring and summer. Interesting.
I love it. All right. Well, Haley, thank you so much for coming on and letting us kind of know what happens to those frogs. I bet you didn't know at home that some of them freeze and some of them semi-freeze. So, so very cool. All right. The power of nature. All right. Well, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Well, don't go away. We have more when we return.